the biggest failure in gaming history, Concord, by the ActMan himself. We gotta see what the ActMan has dug up or so, because you know for a fact that ActMan takes his time or so making these kinds of videos. So we have to take a look and see what's going on with this shenanigans. What other info kind of like swept by the rug. While I was watching other videos specifically about Concord, which I can't wait to upload the video or so. The video will be uploaded on Wednesday or so. For the Concord video that we came up with ideas or so about Concord specifically, I'll be like, because initially, right? Because like this video will be uploaded later, like way later, so right, probably like a week after, right, after these other videos, but specifically, like the idea that I gave off or so for the game itself, right? For it to be because I thought it was gonna be a single player game. I didn't think it was gonna be a hero shooter, but yeah, I was just a bit disappointed that it was a hero shooter. I was just kind of like, I just kind of like, next.
Well taken, Concord.
Thank you, sir. Most kind.
And again. Over we go. Good, steady. And now, the big one. Come on, Concord.
Message for you, sir.
Concord! Concord, speak to me! Brave, brave Concord! You shall not have died in vain!
I'm not quite dead, sir.
Well, you shall not have been mortally wounded in vain!
I think I could pull through, sir.
Oh, I see.
Actually, I think I'm all right to come with you, sir.
No, no, sweet Concord, stay here!
No, I feel fine, actually.
Farewell, sweet Concord!
I'll just stay here then, shall I, sir?
What I remember about the release of Concord is how quiet it was. During the waning hours of the launch week, the Sony executives and I were discreetly transported to the server room. It was a silent trip. We all knew what was about to happen, what we were about to do. Did we have any doubts? Any private traitorous thoughts the game could make a comeback? Perhaps. But we didn't say a word. What's up, everybody? This is the ActMan here, and today, I think it's fitting we hold a candlelight vigil for Concord. He was the best of us, he was the worst of us. Today we celebrate the life and memory of Concord, all 11 days of it. Sony's latest hero shooter, and one of, if not, actually, I think this is the biggest commercial failure in video game history.
You fucked it up!
If you look at Wikipedia's list of video game commercial failures, the numbers are actually quite impressive when compared to Concord. For example, the Sega 32X sold 665,000 units and was still considered a commercial failure. Dude, the fucking 3DO, the console that costed $700, equivalent to $1,500 in 2023, even this sold 2 million. Even the infamous E.T. the Extraterrestrial on Atari 2600, the game that is largely contributed to have caused the video game crash of 1982, sold 1.5 million copies. This is
What the fuck? Really? That's how much it sold? Damn, that's crazy. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot of copies. I thought it was gonna be way less than that. Damn, that's a lot of fucking copies.
just to give you context.
God damn, dude.
Concord, on the other hand, brace yourself, has been estimated to have sold only 25,000 units.
Oh, man, dude. Oh, that's so bad, dude. 25 fucking thousand units. Yeah, that's a pretty shitty price, to be honest.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
The 3DO, the 32X, ET all sold monumentally better than Concord. And this game had a reported budget of over $100 million. If you crunch the numbers, it's estimated about 10,000 copies were sold on Steam. Steam takes a 30% cut of all sales. So if you were to crunch these numbers, the revenue they generated on these sales is not even enough to cover 1% of the budget. It's not even enough to recuperate 1% of that $100 million. This is, I think, the biggest commercial failure in video game history. And with a staggering 8 years of development, Concord launched to an abysmal peak player count of 660 players on Steam.
Oh my goodness!
I would be laughing if it wasn't so sad, but this is a funeral, okay? Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League had a higher player count than Concord. Ladies and gentlemen, to put this in the most extreme context possible, I give you this.
Okay. All right. I don't know who decided to make that game, but yeah, apparently that's a game. Apparently. All right. All right. All right. Which 1,998 of you motherfuckers played this game? Huh? Huh? I'm looking at you guys. I'm looking at my YouTube frogs, looking at my Twitch people, especially people who watch the VOD. So, huh? Which one of you played it, huh? Speak up. Speak up right now.
I could end the video right here, to be quite honest. What's even worse to consider is that a good chunk of these players were likely journalists or content creators who received early codes, or even some of the developers.
I'm innocent of any
begs the
crime.
question, how does
Makes you the most sussest one, the first one to confess.
such a huge game that Sony has invested so much money, time, and effort into, how does it collapse this hard? Today, we're going to answer that question. Why has Concord failed so spectacularly? Because just 2 weeks after launch, Sony has announced that they are pulling it from stores, refunding anyone who bought it, and shutting the servers down on September 6th, which is probably...
I have no idea, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Rice Ball. I'm just kind of like speechless of how that game literally outperformed freaking Concord, which is kind of crazy in my personal opinion.
about the time this video is going to go live. They're giving it the full day before treatment. Not even Redfall was shut down this quickly, and that's so strange because Redfall was a total glitch fest. It was barely even a functioning video game, and yet Concord worked. It wasn't a good game, it wasn't unique, but it functioned, and that's usually like the bar where these kinds of games land, is like they just don't fucking work and they're terrible. But Concord worked. That's what's interesting about it. In many ways, this situation is worse than the day before because that game was just a blatant scam, and this was like a genuine, real attempt to create a new first-party IP for the Sony brand. We are actually witnessing a historic moment, like something that might never happen on this level in the video game industry for a long time. While the video game crash in 1983 resulted in like $3 billion of revenue lost in the industry as a whole, as a singular product, I think Concord takes the cake. This is $100 million straight down the fucking toilet. The game director for Firewalk Studios, the developers, posted this update. An important update on Concord. Concord fans, we've been listening to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey abroad the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. I think one of the saddest things a person can witness is a situation where all hope is clearly lost. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, and yet there is still an element of positivity to it. Man, that fucking sucks for the developers. Like, you can sit here and say, yeah, it's their fucking fault for making this game nobody wanted and nobody cared to buy. But there are genuinely talented developers, you know, people on the ground floor who don't make the creative decisions, who probably put their heart and soul into this job and into this game, and it's just a total dud.
Yeah, but the problem is like, right, with ActMan Gold Setter so specifically, right? It's not like the higher ups or so were looking down on them, right? And telling them how to design a character, right? They maliciously designed the characters. You know, they're the ones who actually like design these specific characters. You know, they went through different iterations of designing the character, and then they decided on unanimously that this would be the one that they wanted to show for the end product. You know, it's not like one of the higher up team managers were like breathing down their fucking neck or so like this. you better make that character look like that. You know, they're not like seeding or something like that, you know, if they make them like in a certain different way, you know. Like remember, right? It's not, you know, they had the creative liberty, right, to create these characters, but then they create them in this certain way or so that, you know, it's just kind of like, it don't look good, you know. Like I have to agree with Asmongold, right? The standard where it has to be for a character, right? For like designing a character specifically, right? Like the biggest question you would have to ask yourself, right? Would you cosplay this character? You know, like that's the biggest question you should ask yourself when you're designing a specific character. So, and be like, would you cosplay this character? Yes or no? And if you wouldn't want to cosplay this character because you think it's terrible or looks ugly or whatnot, that means you got to go back to the drawing board 100% and redesign the character, you know? Yeah, no, they were doing their job or so, right? Like they were doing their job, right? Of course, the lead designer would be like, okay, we're gonna come up with character ideas or so, we're gonna come up with character ideas. You know, this is a hero shooter. You know, we need you to do this, we need you to do that, right? At the end of the day, they're the ones who put their pen on the tablet to draw these characters. Okay, it's not like the manager took over their body or their soul. You know, like a fucking like a possession and shit, and started drawing for them and made them ugly like this. You know, they did it. They drew them. They made multiple different versions of the character, and then they all agreed unanimously that this is going to be the character that they decided to want to choose. So,
and the forced positivity of it, it's something about that just is so sad to me. But I mean, we're still gonna make fun of it. While many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game in our initial launch didn't land the way we intended.
You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
Yeah, the fucking foundation disintegrated. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th and explore options, including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. Yada yada yada. We'll keep you updated, and thank you again to all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord galaxy. All 2,000 of them. That's rough, buddy. I suppose credit where credit is due. They're not taking the small amount of money and running. They would probably face a lawsuit, you know. Although the developers could try to resuscitate the game with post-launch support, I can at least respect knowing when to call it quits. But I am once again asking you to listen, game publishers, to what I said in this video. There should not be so many failures in the game industry that I can keep referencing this video as an example of prophecy. Why was it necessary to invest hundreds of millions of dollars into this new release? It's like you're just hoping that every live service game you make is gonna be the one to make $1 billion, and none of them are. Try developing new IPs on a smaller scale, built by fewer people, with a more cohesive creative vision that takes less risks, and if it does well, work your way up. That's how it fucking used to be. The Warcraft series started as a pretty fucking jank RTS, but it grew from that. These publishers are placing gargantuan expectations upon brand new game studios and just expecting them to make like billions of dollars right out the gate.
yeah, it's funny because this is also the same thing that's happening over at like shows and shit like that, right? You know how like because I saw a video or so that Penguin Zero made specifically, like he's also curious where the hell all of this money is going into, like the Star Wars Acolyte thing, right? You know, it's just like there was like so much absurd money for each episode, and it like barely made anything like in return or so, like on return investment for it. That's why it's not getting a season 2 whatsoever. Like there's this weird or so where they're putting so much fucking money or so into this. Oh, the Rings of Power. I haven't seen anything about the Rings of Power, so I know nothing about it so far. Because I don't, like I said, I don't really watch TV shows. Like just TV shows just kind of like don't interest me, you know. Plus I don't have Netflix on top of that, so I don't have money to pay for Netflix. So, and even then, even if I did, it's just kind of like I don't really watch it, so it just kind of be a waste of money, you know. Because I usually get all my entertainment from like YouTube, or you know, if I have time, I'll read a manga, one, maybe just one, or I'll just watch an anime or something like that. That's about it. So if I have time, you know. But most of the time I'm just playing video games and drawing and watching YouTube videos. So what do you mean the Borderlands movie is pretty good? Okay, shut the fuck up. I seen Complex with more budget. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Like I said, right? Like for some apparent reason, like it's weird. Like they're like putting so much money or so in like one project or so, expecting for them to make so much freaking money in return investment, and that's just not how it works. You know, that's just not how it works. You know. I don't know, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. Even I have to agree. It's just like, bro, just like with a new IP, at least start small or so, you know? Try to take some risks or so, you know, create liberty of risking some stuff, you know? Who knows? Maybe you might find something pretty cool, you know? Yeah. Yeah, there's just this weird absurd or so of paying just way too much for too many things or so, you know? And it's kind of crazy in my person, and also expecting on like a big investment return or so on that, and it's just kind of like that's not how it's gonna work, you know. The worst part about it is that this game was not gonna do well, because the moment it said, you know, you had to pay $40 or so for this game, right? It's a hero shooter that you pay $40, right? Why would I want to pay $40 when I can just go play Overwatch, or I can just go play Marvel, you know, the new Marvel game that's coming out, you know? I'm like, why would I want to do that, you know? I'd just rather go play that instead.
This is such a monumental blunder that it's really important to take a deep look at why Concord failed and what this means for the game industry as a whole. Now, they say they're going to find ways to re-deliver the game, but I don't know if that's possible. The game is just not interesting to people. It's not visually appealing. The gameplay doesn't look fun or interesting or like anything we haven't seen before. I don't think there's a Fortnite turnaround in the cards here. You know, Fortnite's original mode, it just kind of flew under the radar. Nobody cared too much, but Epic had the foresight to say, hey, maybe we can still make something out of this. It wasn't a lost.
Like I said, you know, I did give a recommendation or so. They could make it into a single player game. I'm just saying. But you'd have to redesign the characters, you know. You gotta redesign those characters. I'm just saying, you know. You just gotta redesign those characters. Hey man, I saw a fucking video popped up on my feed too as well, where this one dude used AI to fix the characters from Concord, and then there was another video that popped up or so. An artist or so wants to rework 3 characters from the Concord game or so, and I saw the thumbnail or so. He did like the black girl or so with like the buns on the side. I gotta say though, the rework that he did or so was pretty fucking damn good in my personal opinion. You know, even at the end of the day, even I could probably come up with better character designs in my personal opinion. I haven't even fucking done any of that shit. So, but I have drawn for quite a while or so. You know.
Concord has been the biggest high-profile disaster that most gamers are going to want to stay far away from the blast radius, you know? There isn't any sort of even Fallout 76 type redemption to be had here. It's not a case of No Man's Sky where the game had potential and it hooked people and they were willing to give it another shot with post-launch support. I think this is just dead and done with. Future generations of gamers will associate Concord with failure, with disaster, kind of like what Brink used to be. Anybody remember that dumpster fire?
Jesus Christ, that's a fucking name and a half I haven't heard forever, to be honest.
Talk about how funny it is that Sony decided to launch a live service game like this, which is dependent on a healthy player count to function, and they blocked this game's release from like 180 countries. What are you doing?
Oh, wait, is that still active or so? I didn't even know about that. I thought I thought at least for Concord, at least they would have it open at least. Oh shit, I didn't even know about that.
Sony literally learned nothing from the Helldivers 2 debacle. Like, they looked at that and thought, you know what? We should have just launched the game like that, blocked in all these countries.
What are you doing?
To be fair, though, I think those 180 countries are happy they were saved from purchasing Concord. So, count your blessings. It must be pretty clear to the execs at Sony that Concord's chances of revival are basically zero. So by shutting it down, they're able to save money on the cost of running servers, the electricity for the computers in the building. Perhaps they can save some money on their taxes by writing this off as a fucking business loss. They're just getting what they can back. And this is not reassuring to any aspiring game developers, I imagine. The people of Firewalk are probably utterly demoralized, and I can sympathize with that. Albeit on a smaller scale. It sucks when I put 2 weeks into a video that goes live and it's at the bottom. It's 10 out of 10, doing the worst, it's flopping. But that's only 2 weeks of work for like 1 to 2 people, This was 8 years and 100 developers with the $100 million budget. I cannot even grasp my mind around the stakes and how much I would feel bad about failing on such a spectacular level. So I really do sympathize with the developers on the ground floor. As can Cliff Blazinski, who said on Twitter, "Concord, I feel your pain." For those that don't remember, Cliff Blazinski was the lead designer on the first 3 Gears of War games. He later moved on to create Lawbreakers, another hero shooter that was less dead on arrival than Concord. And that game was shut down just a year after launch. We thought
I actually wanted to try Lawbreakers a long time ago, but I never got the chance to play Lawbreakers. I actually wanted to give it a try because I wanted to see how it felt or so. Because I kind of like the aesthetic or so, but I have no idea how it ever played. So
thought that was a crazy shutdown. 1 year. Concord lasted 11 days. If anyone knows what the Firewalk devs are going through right now, it's Cliff Blazinski. Now, the first major reason Concord failed is pretty obvious. Bad marketing. I, like most people, saw the trailers for this game and thought, don't care. That's how our brains work, right? You have to implant a strong first impression to be like, what is this? Does it have a release date? When's that? I should put it in my calendar. Yo, homie, have you seen this Concord game? This looks kind of sick. Maybe we should try it out when it comes out. No, there was no word-of-mouth effect like that at all. I only learned of this game's existence a few weeks ago because I was doing research on upcoming hero shooters for the video I made on why Overwatch 2 was a pointless sequel, in which Concord was just a footnote in that video. Like, hey, maybe Concord is going to be one of those games that gives Overwatch 2 some competition.
Really? Really? Yeah, I'd be laughing at that.
Really, ActMan? Really? I didn't fucking know anything about it. Okay, cut me some slack. But it's still bizarre that Concord could launch to such low player counts. Like,
it's because the reason why is because when the trailer came out, right, the cinematic trailer or so, I just thought this was going to be a single player game. I actually initially thought this was going to be a single player game, and I got bamboozled or so of it being a hero shooter. And then at that point, I was just kind of like, I was like, no, I don't want to play that, to be honest. So yeah, I even said next, or I'd be like, I was just kind of like, when it was like announced during Summer Game Fest.
They had a flashy, big budget cinematic trailer that like clearly had a lot of effort put into it. It was being promoted on PlayStation's Showcase. They had plans for an animated spin-off series. They had written up a ton of lore and backstory on the characters in the universe. They had limited edition controllers tied in with this game. It actually looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. There were months.
Yeah, the controller looks pretty cool at the end of the day, But I did say initially that I'd rather go invest my money on an actual controller that has no stick drift. So yeah, instead of buying a limited edition controller or so, even though that probably will go up in price or so, for those people who actually buy it, Unfortunately, I'm not gonna buy it because I'm not in the luxury good or so for me to get that. So I have no idea what Latvia is. I have no idea. Hey Jack, how are you doing there, hun? They could have done something with the retro futuristic style. They could have definitely done that. They could have just made a single player game, and I think I would have been so much happier. I think I'm gonna be honest with you, that trailer literally fucked up this game so hard, to be honest. Cause like apparently they made like so much deep lore and like the high budget trailers and shit like that. It's just like, I'm like, I'm like, I'm like, you could have just made a single player game with this, you know? Latvia as a country, I wouldn't know, to be honest. I'm not from this planet, so yeah.
Of planned live service updates with weekly story vignettes to keep players coming back. How could so few people have bought or played this or cared about it? Why did it become a ghost town?
660 people used to live here. Now it's a ghost town.
One Reddit user pointed out that people who pre-ordered got access to the closed beta, and that closed beta peaked at about 1,100 players. The open beta drew in a max of 2,400. The game launched to a player count of less than 700, an indication that about half of the players who pre-ordered the game canceled it or got a refund before release. Wild. Meanwhile, Deadlock's hitting like 100K and it hasn't even fucking been announced yet.
Holy shit. What? How many players?
Wild. Meanwhile, Deadlock's hitting like 100.
God damn. Is it really that good? We'll be trying it today. We'll try out Deadlock today. Well, hopefully I can get in or so. I don't know if the servers are up or so for me to play, but I do want to give that a try. We are going to try it today to see what's going on. Also, thank you for the follow, so Jack. Welcome, hun.
Okay, and it hasn't even fucking been announced yet. And I recently watched the cinematic reveal, and you know when you watch something and you're like, I don't feel anything. That's kind of what like a sociopath probably feels like. I just feel empty inside watching this. It comes across like a intergalactic co-op heist game, which could have been that's a cool concept. I mean, this big tower in the circling city, it looks kind of cool. But the way the characters talk is uninteresting, mega cringe. They don't look visually appealing. It's like, oh, get it? This guy likes hot sauce. Isn't that so quirky? Ah, the old shoot the hot sauce bottle at him. A classic trick. I think it's generous to call this a cheap knockoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, you can already play as the real Guardians of the Galaxy and Marvel Rivals. Just fucking play that. But you know, the setting was cool and interesting. Maybe we just needed time to get used to it. And then they said Concord would be a 5v5 hero shooter. And I think that's when most people just checked out, because there's a lot of those right now. But even in the gameplay trailers, where the footage has been curated and edited to be the best representation of the game possible, Concord still looked dull, unimaginative. I mean, just look at it. Compare this to the excitement present in the Black Ops 6 trailer. These gameplay showcases could be described as This is a brand new IP. It's a hero shooter, an established, saturated genre. You gotta blow us away with an explosive first impression. The game sounded even less appealing when the developers sat down and explained to us what Concord was. None of it sounded unique. All generic statements you could say about any first-person shooter. It's got a strong gameplay foundation, opportunities to outplay your opponent, tight core movement. Does it also have guns? And shooting? I love shooting things. If I'm not shooting, I'm not having fun. So for the people who watched these trailers and were aware of the game's existence, it probably didn't leave a strong impression, especially when it's in a showcase filled with other vastly more interesting games. In this article from The Gamer, there's a paragraph that summarizes people's sentiments perfectly. I'd never heard of Concord before the showcase, or if I had, what I'd heard or seen hadn't been memorable enough to stick in my memory. I didn't realize right off the bat that it was part of PlayStation's slate of live service titles, which set me up for a day-ruining disappointment.
Holy shit. Goddamn, dude. Oh man, dude. If somebody wrote an article like that or so, right? How they felt about Concord. Ooh, yeah. We all know this for a fact of what's gonna be happening. We all know what's gonna be happening.
Live service titles, which set me up for a day-ruining disappointment.
Damn!
First impressions matter a lot, especially with new IPs, because they don't have that emotional equity with an audience to automatically.
Oh yeah, also I want to give an update too, specifically about the thing that I commented or so about people, because I saw or so a post or so, that someone kind of like leaked or so about the original design characters or so for Concord. Apparently, I got my sources. Well, someone actually told me it's like, oh no, they're not real. Someone fan drew them or so. Well, not fan drew them, but someone redesigned them basically. So it's not real. I just wanted to quickly give an update or so. But at the end of the day, they still look better than the actual characters, the Concord characters, Even if it was a redesign, even if someone like, an artist who redesigned the characters or so, it still looks 10 times better. And, so.
Automatically grabbed their attention, and it didn't do a good job of grabbing people's attention. The second reason Concord failed, they missed the bus. It's gone, okay? And now the game is stuck at rock bottom. Even if this came out before Overwatch, it would have felt immediately outdated after Overwatch came out. Overwatch 1, yes. If you're gonna show up 8 years late to the party, you better bring some goddamn good chips and a keg of beer. Where's the beer? It's not just that the hero shooter genre is oversaturated, it's that Concord did nothing to differentiate itself from its competitors.
Yeah, man, it didn't differentiate itself. That means there's no Rule 34 art or so for Concord. There's Rule 34 for fucking Overwatch all over the goddamn fucking internet, shit, like at the end of the day, it's fucking everywhere, because like at the same time, right, at the end of the day, right, okay, so there's one thing for cosplayers, right, like the standard for cosplayers, right, it'd be like, would I want to cosplay this character, right? And then you have the Rule 34 artist, right? Would I want to fuck this thing, That's basically like the thing or so that you want to ask yourself. Like at this point, like that should be the standard or so, right? Like it should be like cosplayers, like you should ask yourself if you cosplay, be like, do I want to cosplay this character? Yes or no? And then for Rule 34 artists, it'll be like, do I want to fuck it? Yes or no? That's basically pretty much is what it is at the end of the day. If you don't want to fuck it or so, that means the design of the character is shit, and you might want to go back to the drawing board. It's the same thing too with the fucking cosplay. If you don't want to cosplay the character, you need to go back to the drawing board. That's pretty sad, actually. That is very sad for you to have 0 Rule 34 art or so about Concord. Man, at least do one for the Asian chick, at least. At least she's kind of, fuckable, I guess, I guess, like, that's the only character I can think of in my personal opinion. I don't even know her name, to be honest. I just only know she's like an Asian goth girl that throws fireballs at people. That's literally all I know about her. I don't even know her name.
As if nowhere along this 8 stretch of development, they thought, hey, maybe we should change directions and try to innovate and adapt to the changing gaming landscape and what...
Yeah, I don't. Like, out of all the characters, right? Out of all the characters from Concord, I think she's the one that's kind of like somewhat serviceable. Maybe a few tweaks here and there, but like, she's serviceable, She's somewhat serviceable.
The current expectations are. I mean, you see this innovation in hero shooters like Deadlock, which is arguably more of a MOBA than a hero shooter.
Yeah, that's more of a MOBA.
Worked to great success in Deadlock. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't play or feel like anything else out there. It's a genuinely innovative title, and it's in alpha, and the art style is still leagues better than this. They haven't even finished the fucking graphics on this game, and it still looks better. Marvel Rivals has the benefit of the Marvel IP and the hundreds of characters they can pull creative inspiration from. NetEase has already worked on Overwatch in the past, so they have experience with that type of game. Apex Legends blends hero shooters with the Battle Royale formula. Valorant mixes hero shooters with Counter-Strike. It's these combinations of different ingredients that makes the beverage taste unique. Concord doesn't have any of that. There's no X factor. And it's late to a trend we've all been familiar with for the last 8 years. The third reason, and let's play a game. One of these is not like the other. Can you help me figure out which one?
It's Valorant.
Is it this one?
No.
No? What about this one?
No.
Oh, I see. It's Concord with a $40 price tag when every other competitor is free to play. Gee, who could have seen this one coming? That this was a bad decision. At a time where inflation is also especially high in the US, gamers have to be wise with what they spend their money on, and they're likely to be even more conservative with their money because of games like Concord that turn into total duds. I don't know what to say. This is just a complete miscalculation. This is 2014 Seahawks at the Super Bowl throwing it when they're on the 2-yard line instead of giving it to Marshawn Lynch. It's just a complete disaster of a calculation. The main appeal of live service games is that most of the times they're free. You might deal with some jank and bullshit, but the game's free, and if you want to support it with microtransactions, you can. So the barrier to entry is torn down and the business model is mostly geared towards cosmetics. That's the trade-off. But trying to do both is really difficult if the game isn't good enough. It's like trying to milk 2 cows at once. Asking for $40 up front is like forcing your guests in Roller Coaster Tycoon to pay to use the bathroom. It's like, no thanks, I'll just shit my pants. Thank you. However, games that manage to blend an upfront cost with a live service model can sell well. Helldivers 2 is a prime example, but they also really didn't go too hard on the monetization. It's also been fumbling on the live service front, and that's kind of sad, but Arrowhead more than made their money back and then some. But Helldivers 2 also offered players something they had never seen or played before. It had style, grace. Concord has a funny face. Speaking of, the fourth reason the game failed, to put it nicely, it's visually unappealing. That is the nicest way to describe it. Not just the character designs, but the UI, the weapons, the maps, everything.
No, it's the character designs. The character designs are just so bad, to be honest.
Generic, it's ugly. Visually, everything has a great amount of detail and high graphical fidelity, but it lacks style, it lacks charm. It means Concord only looks like lots of money was invested into it, but not much creativity. This is a hero shooter. The heroes are the selling point. This game has to have character. If I don't like the look, feel, or sound of these characters, then there's no reason for anybody to play it. So let's look at the roster, shall we? Teo. He looks like he's geared up to play laser tag. I'm gonna
be honest with you, this guy looks like he's like playing Call of Duty, but like he wore like a football outfit, like the football you know, the weird armor thing that they wear, so right, but it's missing like a shoulder pad, you know, and he's got like a little Nerf gun, you know, he's about to go trick-or-treating, you know. It's basically his costume or so that he's like cosplaying some kind of Call of Duty player or something like that, you know.
really not sure what's up with the asymmetric like one blue eye thing. I'm guessing this is like the Soldier 76 of Concord. Hamar looks like she got her outfit at Value Village. Like she,
to be honest, she's like the most like serviceable character, you know. Like you can make Rule 34 out of her, you know. I'll be honest with you, like I still would redesign her just a little bit more better, you know. Because I feel like the weird coat thing is kind of a little bit excessive, you know. I feel like you gotta want to get rid of it just a little bit, so.
She went to a thrift store. Out of all the ways you can cast fire in video games, why tiny little balls? Star Child is...
Oh my god! What's wrong with your face?
What the fuck is this supposed to be? The bright blue skin tone? This looks like my fucking custom Oblivion character that I'm trying to make as ugly as humanly possible. Oh.
Take care, Rice Ball. Take care, hun. Get some good rest.
This lady looks like if...
Yeah, no, this one was probably one of the worst character designs, to be honest. This character right here... No.
Warhammer 40k created a kids show to teach infants how to count. She looks like she would be the main character. She would be the Steve of Blue's Clues. Her design looks like a 6-year-old's interpretation of the Fallout power armor. Like, impressive for a 6-year-old. For $100 million? No siree. Ladies and gentlemen, it's right there. The red flag. I mean, it's in plain sight. They warned us. They tried to stop us from purchasing this game. They literally put a red flag on the character design. There's just nothing visually appealing about any of these characters. If you look at them, they're just all horrendously ugly. Or they have like such contrasting color schemes, or like this guy Jabali. Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like this character. You know, they could definitely make him 100% way better.
Like, isn't that a fucking stupid name? Jabali? Look at him. He's got like a cowboy hat, Mad Max goggles, a fucking portable CD player attached to his chest, and a turquoise, what the fuck is this character design? Even the robot, dude. He's literally called a trash dispenser. He's a fucking trash can. I bet Claptrap could beat the shit out of this guy. This is the fucking prototype for IG-88. This is IG-88's fat brother. This motherfucker looks like the Tiger brand rice cooker, man. Is there even one character that doesn't look like dog shit?
Come on, let's go!
Yeah. That character is it's something. You know, it's anyways, I'm just gonna move on.
Ladies and gentlemen, while recording this video about why Concord failed, the ActMan tragically died from cringe. Did you know that over 700 people a year die from cringe? It's not a whole lot, but it is more than the peak concurrent player count of Concord. Usually it's self-inflicted deaths caused by one's own existence, but in this case, oh, he's alive. So there's nothing about these heroes that looks cool. I'm confused by the art style. The color scheme is off-putting, and I don't know what the fuck any of these people, or if they're even people, are supposed to be. Compare this to any character in Overwatch and it's no contest. And that's the thing, as crazy as this sounds, people want to look cool in video games. This shit ain't cool. This is lame. Either make it cool or make it sexy. It's not hard. I don't think tits could have saved this game though, fellas. The design of Concord's characters aren't just ugly, they tell you nothing about the character themselves. Let's pretend none of you have ever played Team Fortress 2. And I'm pitching the game to you and I tell you, it's a hero shooter or class-based shooter. I want you to tell me what you think this guy does. Kind of looks like he doesn't want his face to be seen. You know, maybe he's a stealthy kind of guy. What about him? Big machine gun? He's got a bigger frame than the other guys. Bald, probably a tough dude. Can dish out a lot of damage, can take a lot of damage, but can't move fast. You see how easy it is to like differentiate between good and bad art styles? What do you think the fucking rice cooker guy does? Did you guess that he's a robot that shoots fucking vacuum cleaners? The point is, Concord isn't interesting to look at. I don't want to look at it. So between the unappealing visual design, the $40 price tag, the generic nature of the gameplay, it's no wonder why Concord failed to capture a meaningful audience. But what is perplexing is how this was okayed by anybody. This is like Sony's Redfall. And right now, Sony is in dire straits. In 2022, they announced they had 10 live service games in production, and 6 of them would be released by March 2026. Layoffs.
God damn, wait, how many? 10 live service games and 6 of them are coming out in 2026? Well, one of them is fucking dead, so it's gonna be 5 of them so far. So it's 9. It's gonna be 9 live service games, and only like what 5 of them are alive or about to be announced in the future. So
live service games in production, and 6 of them would be released by March 2026. Layoffs have hit Sony developers, changing priorities for some of these live service titles. Others have been outright canceled, and some have become flops like Concord. This is representative
never
of a
mind.
overreach, an overexpansion, and overinvestment into something Sony doesn't know how to market or create. They're just throwing money away in the trash can and lighting it all on fire. It has to stop. It's easy to point and laugh at the ridiculous character designs, but truly, it's tragic that so much money and time and effort has gone to waste in such spectacular fashion. Actually, fashion isn't even a word you can use when describing this game. I sure am glad they didn't use, $10 million, $20 million to make a new Jak and Daxter. Really glad we didn't get that instead. And we've already seen the industry hit with tens of thousands of layoffs, and critical flops like Concord will do nothing but contribute to this declining health of the video game industry and the hobby we all care about. Something needs to change, and it needs to change now. But these are the reasons why Concord has failed, and why Sony is shutting it down just 2 weeks after launch. But what do you think? Which of these characters would you bang? None of them? Me too.
No.
Which of these characters?
I wouldn't bang any of these, to be honest. The only one I would probably bang or so is probably the Asian one, because that's kind of like at least she's all right, you know. Like she's all right, you know. She's not amazing or anything like that, right? But you know, she's not bad. You know, she's serviceable.
Would you bang? None of them? Me too. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the ActMan for more awesome content. All right, everyone. We've paid our respects, and it's time to say adieu. Farewell, the sweet Concord. Farewell.
Man, dude, I gotta say, it's crazy, to be honest. What a time or so. 11 days it only lasted. It didn't even last 2 weeks, to be honest. 2 weeks, it did not even last. That's a lot of money wasted. I'm gonna be honest with you on the development for the game itself. So, yeah, it was very interesting to kind of listen or so, or also learn about like some of these older, you know, flops or so in gaming history. You know, outperformed freaking Concord. You know, that's crazy in my personal opinion. But, anyways, that's the end of the video. You guys can comment, like, subscribe, do all that fancy jazzy stuff, and yeah, let me be on this. Let me be on that team real quick. I'll show you how it's done. You know, I'll show you how you lead or so, and how to make an actual good game. You know, and yeah, and peace.